Hello and welcome back to SketchUp Assist. In this video, we're talking MCP servers. So specifically, we're going to walk you through how to connect Claude Desktop with SketchUp, where you can then come in and execute these prompts like you see here and create geometries within SketchUp like you see here. So it should be a fun episode, so please stick around. Now, if you've never heard of MCP before, don't worry, I'll explain. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, and it's basically a way to let AI assistants like Claude talk directly to other tools and software, in this case, the software SketchUp. So think of it as giving AI a set of hands. So instead of just describing what you want built, the AI can actually go build it. Now, there are others out there building MCP servers, and one of the, I think, valuable things here is that you can kind of come in and custom build your AI. So if you do specific things, like if you only design decks or you only design bathrooms or something non-architectural, then you can come in and customize and refine your MCP server for your specific needs. There are a lot of ways to go with that. So what's really pushed me to build this is, frankly, I just have an interest in this space. So an interest in AI and sort of agentic solutions. And obviously, based on the channel, I'm also a fan of SketchUp. So I wanted to see if I could kind of close that gap between, again, describing what's in your head and then actually getting it onto screen. And it's also an efficiency play. Frankly, if I have several structures that I need to build, there's a lot of work that's really not value add for me to do. Like, I don't really need to draw wall framing or floor joists. And so if I can offload that into a tool and save myself some time, that's time I can use to do other things, right? So it's partly curiosity, wanting to see how far we can take this. And then ultimately, though, this is a practical thing for me to do, and that it will be used in my day-to-day. So with this MCP server running, Claude can create geometry, manipulate objects, work with components, manage layers, provide information on your current model, all stuff you'd normally do by hand, but you just ask it to do it and it will do it for you. Now, obviously there's a ways to go in this, and I will show you the good stuff and some bad stuff today. Actually pretty limited test cases, but I do plan to produce a lot more content on this topic and sort of explore the capabilities further. There's obviously a lot to do. There are a lot of different applications. So it's going to take a bit of time to kind of go through and test everything, make refinements, and just continue to push the space forward. But I do have a passion for this and will continue to work in this space. So whether you're a SketchUp veteran looking to speed up your workflow or a developer curious about what you can do with MCP and AI tooling, I think there's something here for you. So let's get into it. So I have a repo that is publicly available, so you can go grab this repo. There's really nothing private in it, or there is nothing private in it. So you'll be able to go clone this repo. Now, to use this, you do need a little bit of technical skills. And I will tell you up front, I'm a Mac user, so it is going to be pretty light on Windows details. I do have some Windows documentation in here based on what Claude helped me set up in terms of documentation for Windows, but transparently not tested. So I'd love for Windows users to test this and provide some feedback. I'm happy to update the documentation. So there are kind of two pieces here that you'll need to work through. So the first is there is a plugin that goes into SketchUp, and you will need to install this plugin in SketchUp and then restart SketchUp. There is a deployment script that we have, and you can see it here. Oh, by the way, I'm using PyCharm. You obviously don't have to use this. You can use whatever you want, but you will need either text files or an IDE of some sort to get in and see the files. If you're just looking to use it as is, then you don't really need to do any development, but you will still need to have a Python environment set up for the MCP server to run, and we'll get into that a little bit. But the first thing you want to do is just go ahead and get the plugin copied over. Now, there is a deploy script in here that you can use. Again, not tested on Windows. It will work on Mac. Please, Windows users, try it out. Let me know. It will find your plugin directory and copy all of the files over. Basically, you need all the things under the SketchUp plugin library copied over to your plugin directory for SketchUp. This script will take care of a lot of it for you. Now, if you don't want to do that automatically with the script, you can come in, confirm. This should be the location on Mac. It certainly is on mine. And then this should be the location on Windows. Again, have not validated that. And then there's some information here on what all you need to copy over and how to set up that file, that directory structure over in that plugin directory. You will need to restart SketchUp after you copy that over. That is one of the things as you're developing in this space. So as I was modifying and making updates to this, every time I push the update for the plugin, I have to restart SketchUp. So it makes the iteration process really slow, but it's just the way it is. If you're just using this as is, you'll just need to restart it one time. I'm going to hop into SketchUp now and kind of show you what you should see. So first off, after you've copied the plugin over, when you start SketchUp, you should see a pop-up that says it's connected. And then you can also look in the Ruby console to see if you see anything like this. So we're going to hop over to SketchUp now and show you what that should look like. Okay, we have the SketchUp home screen here. We're just going to grab a template. Okay, when you open that template, you should see this pop-up, which indicates here that we're running the MCP server on port 8080. And then once you close that that dialog box, then you'll see the note here in the Ruby console as well, indicating that it's running. Here, server's running on 8080. This is the SketchUp MCP server. Now, I'm not going to show it here, but you can test the connection. But generally, if you're seeing those things running, you should be good to go. Now, if you happen to have something already running on port 8080, there are two options. You can either go kill that other thing that's running on port 8080, or you will need to go in and identify another port within the repo that you cloned from the SketchUp MCP server. I'm not going to get into that here. There's little expectation that if you're getting into this, you've got some skills to take care of those things. If you do run into issues, again, drop a comment and below, and we'll try to see if we can help out. So there are a couple of things you'll need to install. You need to install UV, which is a Python package installer. And the command is here to install that. So you can run these in a terminal. So whether you're in Windows or Mac, there's a native terminal, no big deal. Windows, you'll need to have a terminal package installed, or however you typically manage your executables like this. This will install that package manager. Then you can change directories into the SketchUp MCP. So that is into this root directory. So wherever you clone this package at, you'll need to know where you clone it, and then change directories into that, and then run the package installer with pip install -e to install the package and dependencies, and that should do it for you. This is the recommended way. You can just pip install. I recommend running using the UV package manager to do this. And then you can test this by simply coming in and running. So here I am in my case, I have my PyCharm projects, and I have my SketchUp MCP. So I have CD'd now. So I've executed this line. I've CD'd into the repo root directory here, and I can run SketchUp MCP. And basically, this is what you should see. If it throws an error or something, obviously that's bad. But if you don't see anything, you should be good to go. Now, you don't have to run that. Claude will start that for you whenever you connect to Claude. Now, this can be a little tricky. Sometimes it's mainly because of the formatting in these files. And so what you're going to have to do is go in and edit the Claude Desktop config JSON file. And this is what you're adding here. It's just this portion. You'll more than likely already have this piece in there. the MCP server. So this is a keyword effectively in all of your MCP servers. You can have many different MCP servers. You'll see mine. I actually have a few. But you'll want to add this section specifically for SketchUp. And the command is SketchUp MCP. That will run that command we were running here. So Claude will run that command for you. If you installed without the E, then you'll need to use the absolute path in the command. But that's one of the benefits of doing the recommended path upstairs. So let's take a look at that config file. Okay, so as we said, you'll have this keyword. It's probably already going to be in there. If not, then you'll just need to add, if you have an empty file, it's kind of probably better because you can just add this and you're done. I already had some things in mind. So here's that keyword, and I want to nest under that my my config add for the SketchUp MCP. So you can see I have another one here, notes basic, that covers this this section, and then here's my SketchUp entry. Now I did put the full path in mine, but you shouldn't need it, but it's probably always better to have it. That way there's no confusion around where it is. You'll need to work back to figure out, exactly where it is, but it might be worth trying it just with SketchUp MCP, just like this has, just see if it can find it automatically for you. And then of course I have a number of other things in here. If you do, just make sure you have this comma separating the different server connections. Okay. And you probably will end up struggling with this a little bit. I always do. Every time I add one in, it's just a little bit of work to get the formatting. And again, whether or not it needs the path or not is always a bit of a mystery. So it may take a little experimentation to get that to work for you. When you get that, save that file. And then what you're going to do is go to Claude Desktop, and you'll be able to check to see if that server is connected. So let me grab Claude Desktop and show you how to check that. So once you've updated your Claude config file, what you're going to want to do is go in, and again, I'm kind of hiding some things here. Go into your account. You're going to want to go to settings, and then you're going to want to go into developer. Okay, and what you will see is, based on what you have in that config file, you will see these things in here. You will see these servers that you have running, and you should see one called SketchUp. And what you're going to want to look for is if it's running. Now, again, if it's failing, it's probably almost certainly going to be that the path to your SketchUp MCP is missing, and so you'll need to again, however you install it, if you end up doing it like I'm doing in PyCharm, then you'll probably be able to use the same sort of format here. Just obviously update the name of your root directory and the location of where you've put your, where you've cloned the directory. There are some logs in here that you can view if you're getting errors. They're not always easy to interpret, but they are there. But there's really, as long as you can run that server over here, then if this is not running, it's more than likely going to be that you just don't have the right path in there. So you would just need to go into the config file and adjust that path. So once that is running, then you are ready to go, and you can come over and start to ask Claude some questions, or start to provide some prompts for it to create some things for you. Okay, so what we want to do is, now that we have everything working, we want to go to a new chat window here in Claude Desktop, and I have my screen here open for SketchUp, of course, and we just want to start off. You can ask it something like, "Hello, are you connected to SketchUp?" Okay, we expect to see it. And even when you spell it wrong, it knows what you're talking about. So it looks like it has access, and it tells you a few of the things it can do. So let's start with something simple. Let's say, can you draw a circle with a radius of, oops. Yes, you will have to deal with my typing. of 3 feet. Okay, and it's going to know we're talking about SketchUp here. And it's going to go that you could specify, can you draw a circle with SketchUp? Because I don't have any other tools connected that it could confuse this request with, it knows it's SketchUp. If for some reason you had other things, it could get confused, and it might ask you which program to use. And so you can see, you know, that you can kind of judge this as you may. I think it's a very simple case, obviously, but pretty impressive. You know, keep in mind, we don't have anything coded into the MCP server that says, you know, if someone says, you know, circle, go do this. Like, it has a circle functionality, has the circle geometry. So, you know, this geometry in terms of the Ruby call, and it's able to say, hey, I know that thing draws circles. This person's asking for a circle. I'm going to make that connection. So we're not directly coding in this action, I think is important to keep in mind. And admittedly, this is a really simple case, right? But still, pretty impressive. We're taking the natural language, translating that into an action. I could just delete this, but, you know, I can ask Claude to delete it. Remove the circle. Okay. And you may want to save tokens and not do this, but that is one other thing to keep in mind. This will consume quite a bit of tokens. I do have a pro account, so I have quite a bit of capacity in my account. If you're running a free account, you're going to run into, you know, timeouts pretty quick. Even with the $20 account, you're probably going to see some limitations in how much you can ask it to build. Yeah, certainly, you know, a circle is not going to exhaust all your tokens, but when you start building some more complicated geometries, it will quickly consume your tokens. And especially we're running Sonnet 4.6 here. Let's step it up a little bit. I mean, let's just kind of move forward quite a bit. Let's ask it to create the framing for a 9-foot by 9-foot building with 10-foot walls. Include the floor joist and wall framing. Let's do that first. I wanted to do sheathing, but let's do this because I want to show you something interesting that happens here. Okay. So it's decided to do 2x8s on the floor. Not a bad idea. 16-inch on center with a 9-foot span, and it's included 2x4 framing in the walls. 16-inch on center. Okay, so we see our floor is framed out here already, and it looks pretty good, I have to admit. And again, this is kind of out of the box, and we're not, you know, we don't have anything coded in there about how to frame floor joists or, you know, or I should say create floor joist framing or, you know, create wall framing. This is Claude figuring that out. Again, taking the sort of limited geometry capability that's there and going away and creating these models. So you can see it's taking quite a bit. There we go. It pops the walls up there. Let's do it down a little bit. And we ask it for 10-foot walls. It looks like they're probably about 10 feet. Yeah, 10 feet. So from the bottom of the bottom plate to the top of the top plate. Let's see. Let's grab this and pull across here. That's 9 feet. And this should be 9 too. Okay. And the nice thing is you get this kind of summary over here. So floor framing, 2x8s, 16-inch on center. Let's just check real quick. Yep, those look like 2x8s. And again, we didn't tell it to do this. We could have specified the framing in here. In fact, we'll try that after we take a quick look at this. 2x4s in the walls, that's fine. Again, you might want 2x6s. If so, you just tell it to do 2x6s. It defaults to probably what's the most standard, of course, 2x4s in the walls. Now, this time, let's see. Now, I've run this a few times, and obviously the dimensions are always fixed. Where I'm seeing a little bit of differences is like how it handles the corners. And this could just be an artifact of the dimensions and just kind of the way it lands. But notice this corner, like this is fine. Like if this is a shed or something, I'm not going to worry too much about this. Now there are code considerations. If you want this corner to be framed in a specific way, then you need to prompt that. So you can come in and prompt it to tell it what you might want to do. And we can take a look at that later to see how much it knows about different framing styles for the corners. But I'd say for, certainly if you're putting a shed together or just kind of a, simple structure, this is doing a pretty good job already. If we take a look at the spacing here, let me get these set a little bit so we can pull a distance here. Boy, that's a little confusing there, unfortunately. Let me zoom in here so we can get a better view. So I think this is a little better. Oops, come on, pull a distance there. Okay, so 16 on center. Let's take a look at the floor joists here. Yep, 16 on center. Those all look pretty good. I'm not going to measure all of them. 16, and then of course this last one is, we know that's not going to be 16. It's just finishing up the, puts everything 16" on center and then puts the rim joist in. Now, obviously, it's making some decisions about how to do the rim joist here. Again, I feel pretty confident with prompts. You could probably tell it to do specifically what you want. It stops this rim joist short and then runs it long on this side, it looks like. So interesting. It does it on both sides, so it's pretty consistent. Not sure what motivation it has to decide that, all of these joists sit on the inside of this rim joist and then, I'm going to put this one on the outside. But, again, this is valid. It would be fine. Depending on exactly how you might have footers in this case. And so, obviously that could have some impact on whether or not this is acceptable. But, we could probably come in here and say, put the left and right rim joists on the inside of the front and back rim joists. Let's see if it knows what that means. Okay, it seems to know. Now, it's going to redo the whole thing. Kind of interesting. Not hugely efficient. We probably could have stopped it from doing that. Certainly, if you have a complex drawing, the last thing you wanted to do is to delete the entire drawing and redo it. But as you can see, it looks like it did understand what I was asking it and put everything else back. And it looks pretty good. It looks like everything else went back in. Now, there's an elephant in the room here. It didn't go unnoticed, but I was saving it. You'll notice the walls are set up 7¼ inches above the floor. I suspect this is an artifact of it deciding where the top and bottom of the floor joists are. So in other words, it's probably thinking that it's measuring from the bottom up to where it should start, and the reality is it measures from the top up. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but the fact that it's 7¼ is a little suspicious. Now, there's a couple of things. First off, there's no floor sheathing in here, so it's not like the worst thing in the world that they give us the space. So let's come in and see if we can fix it and tell it to correct this. So let's try it like this. We want to include 3/4 inch floor sheathing on top of the floor joists. Also, we see that the wall framing is set 7.25 inches above the floor joist for some reason. When you add the sheathing, move the wall framing down so that the bottom of the base plate sits on top of the floor sheathing. Okay, let's see how it handles this. It might very well wipe everything out, but let's see. Okay, so it acknowledges there's an issue. Okay, that looks a little problematic right now, but it's not done, so let's wait and see. Okay, so it's seeing an issue with the joist positions. Oh no, actually that sheathing's good. The sheathing's placed underneath the wall framing, so that's good. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Everything's now properly stacked. Floor joist 2x8 equals 0 to 7.25. Okay, that's clearly not right. Floor sheathings at 7.25 to 8. We can see the issue here is that this is the origin. So the floor joists are clearly set below the origin, and so for some reason it is off. So let's tell it the floor joists actually set below z equals 0. Oops. They appear to start at z equals minus 7.25 with the top at z equals 0. Why is your measurement okay? Okay, so push-pull is confusing it. They created the face at 0. Not sure about that explanation, but that's what Claude thinks. Okay. All right, not the end of the world yet. I know that doesn't look good, but we'll give it a second to see if it can salvage this, because right now it's headed south pretty quickly. There we go. So, I know this is not a complex structure, but I still find it pretty impressive. Now, we had to coach it a little bit, but that's kind of where this is now. I think you certainly shouldn't be looking at this, as a tool that you can just completely turn loose. It is an assistant that can help you out, but you still need someone with knowledge. So I think the good news is SketchUp users are not going to be losing their jobs tomorrow. That's the good news. You can see it takes a little coaching. Now I want to, I'm not going to cherry pick the good stuff. I'm going to show you the bad stuff. So when you go to do something a little more complex, so far, admittedly, pretty easy. When we go to do something like a roof, then you see that we quickly run into issues. So let's ask it to add roof trusses to our building. They should be Fink style with a pitch and set 24-inch in the center. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm not going to let it use this yet. This is some new work that I'm doing, so I'm going to deny this for right now. And so this is now Claude trying to figure this out. Now there is a random nature to this. While these don't look great, they are the best ones that I've seen so far. Maybe the system's learning. So you can see all the boards are turned sideways for some reason. All in all, not too bad. But this is not 100% out of the box. I did a little bit of work to teach it how to build trusses. What you saw me deny is a much larger effort. I want to save to talk about that, where we went in and actually trained it on how to build trusses. We gave it a number of trusses with all dimensions, different spans, different pitches to teach it how to build them. This is just with a little bit of additional information provided to it. And I'd say, the cuts are way off, right? I mean, clearly like these boards extending into the top plate here. The fact that all the lumber's turned on its side. These are problematic, but with a little bit of coaching, you can get it to this point. Hey, if you're finding the channel useful or interesting, please consider subscribing. And if you have any feedback for any of our content, please consider leaving comments. Thank you.